I entered the world on August 23, 1919, amid the ornate splendor and lingering echoes of imperial decay in Vienna, Austria, a city still haunted by the ghosts of the Habsburgs, its grand avenues lined with coffeehouses where intellectuals dissected the empire's recent dissolution over Zahortorta and Einspanner, the air redolent of roasted chestnuts and the faint, acrid tang of coal smoke from the Ringstrasse trams rumbling past faded secessionist facades. My father, Franz Xaver Frisch, a precise and unflappable bank officer whose days were spent amid the ledgered ledgers of the Kreditanstalt, navigating the ebb and flow of post-war reparations and the hyperinflation's whirlwind that turned wheelbarrows into currency carts, succumbed to a lingering illness when I was merely 10, his absence carving a quiet chasm in our modest apartment on the edge of the Jostadt, where the scent of his pipe tobacco, rich, aromatic Balkan Sobranie, still lingered. Like a fading echo in the hallways lined with faded Habsburg portraits, their powdered wigs and stern gazes a silent tribunal over our evening suppers of ersatz coffee and thinning rye bread. My mother, Margaret Frischbereiter, a steadfast high school teacher whose chalk-streak hands and unyielding dedication spanned more than 4 decades in the classrooms of Vienna's public schools, from the echoing halls of the real gymnasium, with its vaulted ceilings whispering of Goethe school days, to the overcrowded rooms of the working-class districts where the clamor of truant apprentices drowned out quadratic equations. She raised me alone through the turbulent interwar years, her evenings a ritual of lesson plans illuminated by the soft, amber glow of a single desk lamp, the scratch of her pen against paper a metronomic counterpoint to the distant rumble of trams on the Ringstrasse and the muffled debates from neighboring cafes, where socialist pamphlets traded barbs with clerical tracts under the haze of cigarillo smoke. On my father's side, he descended from a lineage of enterprising Hungarians who had risen through the ranks of banking and pioneering industrial stewardship during the waning days of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, their fortunes intertwined with the flow of capital from the vineyards of Tokai, where golden Asu grapes hung heavy in the autumn mist, to the manufactories of Budapest, where steam engines hissed amid the clatter of looms under the watchful eyes of foremen bearing the family name, their account books bound in tooled leather and stamped with a double eagle sigil. Father honored this heritage in his profession, navigating the labyrinthine world of Viennese finance with a steady hand of tradition, balancing ledgers by gaslight in the Kreditanstalt marbled halls, where the tick of telegraph keys heralded market tremors from London to Constantinople. Yet he transcended it as an unapologetic ultraliberal intellectual, his conversations laced with the sharp, satirical edge of the Vienna Circle's post-Enlightenment salons, evoking the acerbic wit of Karl Kraus in his feuilleton skewering the feuilletonists, or the philosophical sparring of Moritz Schlick amid the smoky haze of Café Central, where nothing was sacrosanct from his piercing sarcasm, be it the pretensions of the bourgeoisie in their fur-trimmed loden coats, or the absurdities of bureaucracy's red-tape tango. Sole exemptions, his profound devotion to family, manifested in quiet evenings reading Rilke aloud by the fireside, his voice a gentle rumble against the winter wind rattling the casements, verses from the Duino elegies unfolding like fragile moths in the lamplight, and an unyielding conscience that guided him through ethical tempests, refusing promotions tied to moral compromise, even as the shadows of economic depression lengthened over the city, the crash of 29 rippling like a stone in the Danube, turning Viennese waltzes to dirges. Legend whispered of his own father, a polyglot savant fluent not only in the melodic cadences of Hungarian, with its throaty vowels rolling like the Tissot's current, the precision of German's compound fortresses, and the elegance of French's filigreed flourishes, but also in the resonant periods of classical Latin, intoned like papal bulls in seminary chapels, the poetic intricacies of Attic Greek, where Homer's hexameters sang of heroes' hubris, and the ancient sonorities of biblical Hebrew, chanted in shadowed synagogues amid the flicker of memorial candles, honed during protracted years in a Jesuit seminary's austere cloisters, where candle flames danced on vellum manuscripts amid the scent of beeswax and frankincense, the air thick with Gregorian chants and the rustle of scholastic robes. The young acolytes tonsure a halo under vaulted arches before familial pragmatism or quiet rebellion steered him toward secular pursuits, perhaps a merchant's ledger or a diplomat's dispatch. The seminary's sanctity yielding to the world's sophistry. In ensuing generations, the family's scholarly eminence waned like a river carving deeper, but narrower channels through the Carpathians, the intellectual legacy persisting in sparks rather than conflagration. Father's library a sanctum of Schopenhauer and Spinoza, their spines cracked from midnight perusals. Yet ever a quiet undercurrent in our household discussions over suppers of goulash simmered with paprika from Magyarkin, and apple strudel dusted with confectioner's sugar like fresh snow on. The Alps. My mother's forebears traced a more intricate weave and attenuated thread of impecunious Austrian aristocracy. Barons whose heraldic shields gathered dust in provincial attics amid the creak of settling floorboards, their titles more echo than estate, whispered in salons where chambermaids polished silver that no longer shone, interlaced across centuries with affluent burghers whose mercantile savvy in spices from the Levant, silks from Smyrna, and wool from Silesian looms funded dowries and dowers, yielding a lineage of high imperial functionaries whose lives were symphonies of scrupulous service to the Habsburg crown, their dispatches sealed with waxen eagles in the Hofburg's candlelit scriptoria, marked by an inbred hauteur that manifested in stiff collars and unspoken assumptions of superiority, their gatherings formal affairs of chamber music. Violin sonatas by Dittersdorf drifting through parquetry-floored halls, and measured toast to the Kaiser. They embodied a noblesse oblige tempered by the empire's inexorable twilight, the Sarajevo shots echo still reverberating in the Belvedere's gardens. By deliberate choice, Mother immersed herself in the city's most destitute enclaves, the teeming tenements of Favoritan, where coal dust blackened the facades of workers' blocks, and the cries of ragamuffins mingled with the clang of streetcar bells, and the fog-shrouded alleys of Simmering, with its gasworks belching sulphurous plumes like industrial minotaurs, perceiving no discord between her devout Christian piety, with its rosaries recited by candlelight in the shadowed nave of the Karlskirche, the marble saint's eyes seeming to follow her devotions amid the scent of beeswax and wilted lilies, the redemptive zeal of Maria Hilf's charitable missions, distributing soup from cauldrons steaming with barley and root vegetables to queues of hollow-cheeked laborers, the egalitarian visions of Kautsky's socialist tracts, smuggled in school satchels past censors' gaze, and the humanistic humanism of Adler's ethical socialism, her syllabi a harmonious fusion where Kant's categorical imperative coexisted with gospel parables on the blackboard, chalk dust settling like manna on her sensible wool skirts, lesson plans bridging the catechism's confessional booth to the cooperative's communal ledger. During my formative years, I imbibed the intoxicating ethos of Christian Austrofascism under Chancellor Engelbert Dollfuss, that diminutive millimeter emperor with his pince-nez perched like a perching eagle and unyielding resolve forged in the Tyrol's granite crags, and his successor Kurt von Schuschnigg, a regime blending clerical conservatism with corporatist control, where black-shirt Heimwehr paraded through the Heldenplatz under the double eagle shadow, their boots echoing like judgments on the Stephansdom stones, the air sharp with the scent of polished leather oiled rifles, and the faint, underlying tension of February 1934's brief civil war, when socialist barricades in the Schutzbund's grip, barricades of cobblestones and splintered furniture in the Favoritan's fog, crumbled under mortar fire's cough, leaving the Ringstrasse pavements scarred with the ghosts of the slain, their blood mingling with the rain that washed the gutters toward the Vienne River. I pursued philosophy and political economy with a zeal that transcended adolescent curiosity, delving into Schopenhauer's will to power amid the musty stacks of the Hofbibliothek, where the leather bindings exhaled the dust of centuries, and the air hummed with the whispers of scholars bent over incunabula, and dissecting Ricardo's iron law of wages in the gaslit reading rooms of the University of Vienna. The Argentinierstrasse arches framing debates that echoed with Marx's Spectre and Mills. Utilitarianism. This extended my boyhood pastime of tinkering with Meccano bridges and model locomotives in the sun-dappled clutter of our apartment's attic. Gears meshing with a satisfying click of precision, oil-slicked fingers tracing camshafts under the slanting light filtering through dormer panes. The faint whir of a wind-up motor, a symphony of potential. Into a vocational vocation. Blueprints and theorems, a siren song that drowned law's dry tomes in their own ink. The codex's corpus callosum yielding to. The slide rule's sleek certainty. My youthful chimera. To cloak myself in the barrister's wig alongside the engineer's slide rule and the economist's abacus. A polymath's panoply bridging jurisprudence's labyrinths, with technology's levers and oikonomia's equilibria, perhaps even dabbling in the diplomatic dispatches of a foreign ministry attaché, fructified, but fractionally on credentials ledger. Gymnasium's rigorous rites. Latin declensions chanted like litanies in the wood-paneled lecture halls of the Scotten Gymnasium. Mathematics axioms etched in midnight vigils by the flicker of a kerosene lantern. The scratch of nib on foolscap, a nocturnal nocturne, interrupted by the Anschluss's abrupt alchemy, that velvet-gloved vice of March 1938, when Wehrmacht columns snaked through the Torrens passes under Alpenglow's blush, their panzer's low growl harmonizing with the tolling of Salzburg's bells and the cheers of coerced crowds waving from Tyrolean balconies, swastika armbands fluttering like ravens' wings against the edelweiss of mountain meadows. Upon high school's valedictory, diploma clutched like a talisman amid the tear-streaked farewells in the gymnasium's cloistered courtyard, where linden blossoms drifted like confetti of lost innocence, and Austria's coerced Anschluss with the Reich, I volunteered for septenary servitude in Adolf Hitler's millennial Reich, an odyssey from the Baroque yards of Wiener Neustadt, where drill instructors' barked commands echoed off the Wienerwald's wooded slopes like thunder in the Vienna woods. The air sharp with the tang of fresh sawdust and gun oil, to the Volga's frozen fastness, where the wind howled like Cossack pipes across the endless white, and Italy's terraced Tyranides, their olive groves silvered by sirocco winds carrying the salt of the Tyrrhenian Sea. Zenith or nadir, a biennial bondage in an American POW redoubt near Pugli, that Neapolitan necropolis of sun-bleached palazzos and laurel-shaded lanes, where barbed wire framed Vesuvius's eternal plume like a captive's sardonic sigil. The mountains ash a perpetual reminder of empire's evanescence. Repatriated in 1947, I recommenced ab ovo, those nonary and us a cruciform curriculum in applied ethnopsychology, vivisecting resilience's sinews amid victor's vainglory and vanquished void, hope's helix and horror's hydra, the foxhole's fraternity, a forge where fear and fortitude fused. Whilst comrades canonized our crusades, through Poland's polders, where lancers' plumes danced in feudal fury against the Panzer's steel storm, France's fincas with their vineyard-veiled chateaux crumbling under Stuka siren's wail, the Soviet steppes' skeletal birches clawing at auroral skies like supplicants to a merciless god, Sicily's sun-scorched sierras etched with Etruscan ghosts and allied shell craters, Italy's Apennine ambuscades amid wild time's whisper and the crack of garand rifles. As devoir patriotique or quixotic chimera, a knight-errant's errand in the Führer's grail quest, I refracted them an unparalleled peripatetic pedagogy ethnos's tapestry unfurling in bazaars and bivouacs, civilizations straight peeled like onions in occupied outposts, lingo's lexicon acquired in the babble of billets and battlefields, a periscopic pilgrimage, the expatriate's unentangled vantage, a mosaic of human motley, from the Vistula's folk songs to the Volga's vodka toasts. Engineering's clarion-pealed primordial pre-Anschluss, an Austrian artillery savant, donning the KUK artillery's eagle-plumed shako, its gilt buttons glinting on the Donneconels, keys amid the scent of fresh pretzels from splash-side stalls and the river's brackish breath. Yet unification's usurpation unraveled that Arcadian ambition, Reichsregimentation, rendering regimental rank a receding mirage. The double-headed eagle, supplanted by the swastika's stark geometry. KUK perdured pre-Anschluss army engineer officers, epaulets aligning avuncular aspirations. Mutters Frater. That stern sibling of hers, with his pince-nez perched like a perching owl and pipe clenched like a talisman against the tempests of tenure, importuned jurisprudence's laurels as dignity's diadem. Engineering's gears grubby by contrast, a mechanic's monkey wrench unworthy of baronial blood. The slide rules slide a slide into the serval. Yet mechanism's magnetism prevailed. Law's lexicon loathed since edicts impositioned Ebes, they decreed, their voices echoing in the vaulted halls of the family villa like a verdict from the Hofburg's throne room, where portraits of powdered-wigged ancestors frown from oaken panels, their eyes seeming to follow the errant sun with aristocratic approbation withheld. German legions unforeseen, war's whirlwind unbidden, conscripted 1938, age disseminum, with confreres from schoolyard scuffles and neighborhood ninepins, their laughter still fresh from football pitches ringed by chestnut trees dropping conkers like cannonballs. We matriculated all Viennese Haus Regiment Artillery 109, that Berg's hereditary hearth, its barracks a bastion of Stephansdom's shadow. The Stephansplatz spire a sentinel o'er our square bashing, the air sharp with the crack of rifle. Bolts in the chill morning mist, and the distant chime of the Pommern bell tolling like a tocsin for the Empire's elegy. Initiated as Gefreiter, no simple Schütze, the Reichsheer's rank-and-file archetype, my Feldgrau a tabula rasa for sergeant stripes, the wool itchy against the skin like a perpetual penance. I endured that station's servitude through the saga, a private's prismatic palimpsest on the panoply of principalities and powers, the worm's eye view of Weltanschauung's whirlwind. 14 decades hence, with visceral qualms, a reticence rooted in the reticulated reticence of the vanquished, the loser's lexicon a litany of silence. I consented to chronicle those nonary years, a narrative erstwhile entombed, unvoiced even to kin, cogitations curated or culled in psyche's sanctum, the weight of unwritten words a phantom limb aching in silence, its phantom pains pulsing with each anniversary of April's alpine thaw. Reticence innate, Schönberg's shadow perhaps, reserved as a song line, emotions etched in minor keys, the atonal anguish of a survivor suite. Yet Wilbur Jones, that erudite interrogator whose professorial probity I prized, his gentle persistence a scalpel to scar tissue, the probe of a psychoanalyst parting the veils of repression, pivoted my reticence. His overture, a catalyst to candor, coaxing confessions from the catacombs of memory, like Orpheus's lyre luring shades from Hades. Ignorance initial readership's riddle, who craves a lancer's ledger, the grunt's ground-level gospel, the private's palimpsest on power's pageant, yet epiphany's singular occasion to testify, verbatim for the vault of verity, a palimpsest for posterity etched in the unyielding ink of experience. Ensuing reminiscences of Wehrmacht's nonary novitiate, adjunct album attesting authenticity, photographs paucity post-43's pell-mell, celluloid scarcity eclipsed by exigency's eclipse, the shutters click silence by salvos that shattered the silence of Sicilian sierras and Italian olive groves, particularly Sicilia Italia's scurry, where the lens lingered on laurels lost amid the rubble of Roman roads. Americani's arc absent entirely, a void where victory's vignettes should bloom like anemones. In the Apennines cracks. Anyway, Kodak box camera lost, its bellows a bellow of bygone bounty. The viewfinder's frame a fleeting window to a world unwarped by war's warp. Till Jones unearthed an antique analog in Michigan's hinterlands, a talismanic token restoring relics' resonance. Its full leather grip evoking ghosts of Jelaw's Gulf and the Gulf Stream's ghost ships. The bellows was a whisper of what was. Excavating those overlooked optics, faded frames of Feldgrau phantoms in frozen tableau, smiles strained against the step stair, the glint of a bayonet in Balkan sun, or the shadow of a Stuka's wing over Sedan. Fortified resolve to recount. Negatives alchemy yielding positives prism. The darkroom's developer dissolving decades of denial. Sans journal or epistles extant. Memories matrix crystalline, notwithstanding long latencies liken. The patina of time polishing recollections to a poignant patois. Corroboration coalesced iterative interrogations, yielded congruent chronicles, snapshots, and savant scrutiny scaffolds. Wilbur's warrant a warrant for witness archival alchemy. Unit Annals autopsy from Teutonic transcripts yellowed with age and annotated in faded fraktur. Catalyzing recollections renaissance, dates, and dispositions distilled from dust-gathering dossiers, like wine from forgotten cellars. Concluding capsule post-47's Phoenix flight, salient sojourns, paramount the Felix Casus of American Anchorage, a transatlantic talisman where the Hudson's tide mirrored the Danube's dream. Opportunities octaves outsoaring occupation's octave. The skyline spires a new Stephansdom of steel and glass. Liberation's load unburdened, the albatross aloft annulled. Annals aired like autumn leaves on the Vienne River, swirling toward the sea of shared stories. Perdurable reticence of vanquished veterans. Lozer's lore, a lacuna universal, the silent saga of the subdued, their tales trapped in trunks like moths in amber. Yet I aspire to apportion kin, confreres, chroniclers, conoscenti, a veridical vignette of Lancer's Lebenswelt, the private's palimpsest on power's pageant, the worm's eye witness to the world's wounding. Preeminently we fought to survive, survival's absolute necessity, the primal pulse beneath the panoply of parades and panzers, the heartbeat's hegemony over heraldry's hollow horns. Patria's duty devolved, indubitably, good soldier must, the oaths echo in every barack's bugle call at reveille, the morning mist still beating the Mauser's stock, yet nothing outweighed life's trace, the viscera's verdict over the fatherland's vow. A soldier, archetype akin to G.I. Joe, the doughboy's double, his care rations and Lucky strikes a transatlantic twin to our substitute coffee and cigarette ration packs. The foxhole's foxfire flickering in both, nonagenary novitiate a private's prismatic palimpsest, the worm's eye view of worldview's whirlwind, where the eagle's shadow eclipsed the individual spark. Principal rationale for perpetual private not works of morals, but burden economic, familial freight politicized. A scarlet letter sewn into the seam of my soldier's booklet, the military passes, pages, stamped with suspicion seal. Pre-militia International Boy Scouts inductee, Dollfuss's clerical corporatism catechized. Home Guard's home cross a talisman against Anschluss's union, the black shirts' boots marching in lockstep with the Te Deum swell through Vienna's folk park. Anti-Nazi allegiance akin to crimson in Carolina's cotton fields, a subversive scarlet in the Reich's rubric of racial runes. The Storm Detachment's assault section, a specter at the garden gate. Therefore entry with stigma suspect. Reich's regimentation rendering promotion remote. Reparation renounced. Reticence's regimen. Not revisionism's right. A silent Sabbath in the storm of slogans. The Horst Wessel songs howl a hollow hymn to the unheard. 38 entry 2 years for seeing. 2 years, then forget. The recruit's rosary of reckoning. Beads of basic training's brutality. Said saga serpentinum. Time transformed by tempests unforeseen. The calendar's conspiracy unfolding like a map in a Führer bunker. The Zossen ciphers, secrets seeping into the soldier's soul. Family World War I Austria served father ill dismissed after front's fever. The trench's trenchancy turning his cough to consumption. Mother's brother's officials. One Vladivostok's bonds. Siberia's snows a shroud for his spirit. The Trans-Siberian's endless rails a rosary of regret. The other Isonzo's inferno, where alpine eagles wheeled o'er the carnage of Caporetto's caprice. The Isonzo's icy waters claiming more than bullets in that alpine Armageddon. Natural, therefore, duty of country, dignity dynastic, the blood's bequest binding bayonet to birthright, the Iron Cross's irony inherited from great-uncles' graves. Service physical changed little 5 feet 6 inches now, wore about 160 pounds, congruent today, but distribution discreet, the sinews softened by sedentariness, the frame filled by fortune's feast in the fat of peace. Motorized soldier, vehicles carried never on foot, the half-tracks hum a lullaby or the march's monotony. The SDKFZ, 251's growl a grandfather's grumble. Exceptions 42's Czechoslovakian cadence. Boots blistering on Bohemia's cobbles amid the scent of fresh-baked dumplings from wayside inns. 45's boreal tramp northward pre-capture. The Alps apron a gauntlet of gravel and ghosts. The Brenner passes pines, whispering warnings in the wind. Pride motorized post-Poland lightning. Blitzkrieg's blueprint hours. Intense discipline, carrying speed. Victory's vain. The Opel Blitz's bellow, a bard's ballad to the fatherland's fleet-footed fate. The dust devils of the Polish plains a precursor to the steppe sandstorms. Entry homogeneous. Viennese in House Regiment 109, city's umbilicus. The Stephansdom spire our steeple, its mosaic roof a kaleidoscope in the Kärntner sunset. Swiftly diversity dawns geographic social educational amalgam. Basics baptismal bath in the arsenal's echoing expanse, where the clang of shod heels on cobblestones mingled with the sergeant's snarl and the faint, floral whiff of the stat parks, lilacs, drifting on the breeze. Subgroups coalesced brothels brotherhood, their laughter lewd in lantern-lit lanes off the girdle, the air thick with perfume and pipe smoke. Chessmen's cloister, clerks only in the casern's corner, where kings toppled like captured capitals in the lamplight's long shadows. Ranked nothing in gambit's grip, the pawn's promotion a private's pipe dream. Army German cunning chemical, layers social economic transverse. Dialects lowered, common language teaches true tongue. First, as Germans say, the guttural Bavarian growl yielding to the lilting Austrian lilt in a lingua franca forged in foxholes. The rifle festivals, shout softened to the city dweller sigh. We Austrians 50 meters unintelligible. The Viennese whimsy a wall to the main Franconian monotone. The Yiddish-inflected Yiddish of the Leopoldstadt a layer cake of languages. Today vulgar uniform, the broadcast banal bomb. Daily shows, Teutonic tidiness. Vulgar fouls, however much army. Especially Russia, Italy's counter-battery cataclysm. The 15 CMs roar a ribald retort to the reaper's whisper. The air blue, with Bavarian blasphemies and Styrian oaths. Beginning 38 Unity Austrian. House Regiment's hallmark, city shadow. The Danube's gleam, our drill field's diadem. The blue and white imperial colors, fading to field gray's monochrome. War mixes, replacement stream. And 2 house regiments left, phantoms in the panoply, their traditions trodden under the treads of time. Conscript draft about September 38, 1st Battery, 1st Battalion. Artillery 109, Arsenal's Amidus, Cerney's compound, Viennese Valley. Its walls whispering of 1848's barricades and the 1908 Bosnian crisis's brinkmanship. Other 2 batteries, different buildings. No community, silos of silence amid the clatter of caissons. All Poland, France, Russia from beginning. All 41's winter hell Moscow's mall lost. The steppes white sepulchre swallowing guns and ghosts alike. The snows shroud a silent shroud for the 6th Army saga. Title never perpetual, nor division corps, Lord Artillery, fire bearing, ad hoc assigned. A nomadic nemesis to necessity's nod. The fire brigade's bell tolling for the Third Reich's pyres. Americans dedicated organic, fire-bearing to burning, where smells of soldiers, the stench of strife our summons, the acrid bite of burnt powder our bread. Paper phantom often detachments, not unit whole, private, rank sergeants obeying, generals unknown, their epaulets glimpsed in gaslit secret state police briefings, the defenses whispers a wind in the willows. Reconstruction arduous several divisions core memory. Principal Guderian's 1st Panzer Division. France invasion. Allies to Dunkirk driving. The Channel's chalk cliffs a distant dazzle under the Ju-52's drone. Actually, source books table of events. German Empire Wehrmacht units ratio. Organization's mutables against myth German genius. The Teutonic talisman of order a chimera cracked by contingency's capricious claw. The Führer's folly fracturing the facade. Revolution to begin revolutionaries must trust themselves. Time requires. Trust's tendrils twining slowly through the tendrils of time. If turned around, no trust, no thing. Anarchy's axiom etched in the ether of edicts. Analogy applied whatever trying. Continuity empire organization lacked. Uncertainty confusion mixed signals begets. whispers warped in the chain of command's crooked mirror like light through a prism of propaganda. Except immediate peers, morals not increased, the esprit de corps eroded by eddies of enigma, the foxholes fire flickering faint. Duty guns, infantry, panzer, motorized support, that echelon third, sometimes fronts nearest, often kilometer two behind. The half-tracks hum, a harbinger of havoc. The SDKFZ. 251's growl, a grandfather's grumble in the gearshift's grind. Unlike most German field guns horse-drawn, horses neighing and snorting in stubble fields, the harnesses jingle a jangle of jeopardy. Our guns apparatus trucks, often SDKFZ-7 half-tracks, their Kettenkrad treads churning clay to confetti under the driver's desperate downshift, carried. Crew in truck staff cars, convertibles roof mostly, the canvas flap snapping like a regimental flag in the slipstream sting, rain lashing like the lash of a field marshal's tongue. Gun 10 centimeters, SFH-18 light field howitzer. Range 13.325 kilometers. Memory lapse to 21 kilometers. The barrels bellow a boast unbridled. Sometimes 15 centimeters, SFH-18 heavy field howitzer. 13.325 kilometers each. The howitzers hymn, a harmony of havoc. Both chassis tractor common. The Hanomag SS-100's bellow a bass note to the barrage's baritone. Its SDKFZ. 7's treads a tattoo on the turf. 41 before Russian, new symbol Austrian weapon, cross, Stephansdom's outline. Gothic spires silhouette a sylvan sentinel against the steppe stare, vehicles later, token right license. A talisman of the fatherland's vanished waltz. The double eagle's ghost in the swastika shadow. Original battery, about 200 officer soldiers. 109 battalion, not regiment, title only, bureaucratic bauble, the paper panoply of a phantom phalanx. Total 800. The battalion's bones, a brigade in name alone. Its sinews stretched thin across the fronts. 41 after winter. Barrows, not BR, reconstitution. New recruits basic, without guns. Greenhorns gawking at gun drills, ghosts in the Carpathian's chill. 109 only experts field, East's or DLR oracle. The Taiga's talion a tutor in tenacity. After training, split fit tropics me among. To Detachment 557 new. Africa's azure allure a siren's song from the Sahara sands. Unfit to 109 redesignated Greater Germany. Stalingrad slaughter, 91,000 captives, not 95. The Volga's verdict of vortex of vanishing. About 5,000 survivors. The steppe sacrament a spectral reunion. Sicily 43 Americans invasion expected. Fortunate, Russian avoided. Taiga's talons truncated. The bear's bite bypassed, for the boots blister. Military life easy rules taught, eyes ears open, mouth closed. To comrades best. The foxholes fraternity a forge of fast friends. Shared cigarettes, glowing like fireflies in the foxhole's gloom. Recreation time rare, letters daily. The postman's pouch a portal to normalcy. The field post stamp a talisman of the table at home. Beer wine drinking France abundantly. Bordeaux's bouquet a balm to the battle's bite. Russia none. Vodka's void of Volga's vow. Sober never, war enjoyable. The mess tense mirth a momentary moratorium on mortality. The laughter's lilt a linctus for the lungs. Army German centers amusements brothels. Certified prophylaxis after exposure. The regimental medical companies stamp a scarlet letter shield. The medics muster a mustering of the meek. Sick without. Prison's cold cot a consequences cage. With fault not. The ledger's leniency a lieutenant's largesse. Rules all, no observe must. The soldier's saturnalia a straitjacket of statutes. The barracks code a catechism of compliance. I beer wine, chess much, Yugoslav master junior, German unfortunate, but play fantastic. His knight's gambit a geometry of genius, in the gaslit secret state police glow. Group small coinciding rank nothing, joy only. The board's black and white a brief reprieve from field gray's monochrome. The pawn's promotion a private's pipe dream in the panzer shadow. Relations with officers NCOs cautious correct. Persons depending, trust general. The lieutenant's gnawed a lifeline in the latrine queue. The sergeant major's growl a grandfather's grumble. I not attend, ship not rock, Extreme avoid. The private's prudence a privateer's prize. The foxhole's foxfire flickering faint. Discipline relaxed as war progressed. Trust lost. The iron cross tarnished by time's inexorable rust. The knight's crosses gleam, giving way to the grind of the grave. Led 45 Italy's northern go must, no alternative except capture. We knew allies' unconditional command. Potsdam's protocol a pall over the puh. The Yalta's yokes a yoke on the yoke. After Stalingrad, German cause bad, never reversible believed. The Volga's verdict a valediction. The Führer's folly a funeral oration. American soldier victory's idea, ideal goal. The GI's grin a gospel of grit. The Sherman's rumble a requiem for the Reich. German. Survivor's only goal singular units, no other. The foxhole's fellowship forged in fierce fire. The half-tracks hum a hymn to holding on. Front's Italian against Americans' desired capture. The white flags whisper a siren's song amid the Sirocco's sigh. Russia different, if not move, Taiga's tomb the terminus. The bear's banquet a bite too far. Desert never where go unit me no meeting near. No living enemy face to face except captives. Their eyes hollow as the helmets they surrendered. The PPSHs curve a curve of capitulation. Miraculously never wounded. Why all others, me alone. Fate's favoritism a fluke. The shells shriek a siren's miss. Rifle M98K always. Italy's P38 also. The Walther's wait a wary talisman. Its blued steel a blue note in the barrage blues. Guns horse high quality trust, except trucks Russian chapter. The Opel Blitz's bellow betraying in boreas bite. The leaf springs lament a lesson in limits. Except scout early calculating. Wire telephone text storm motorcycle messenger. The sidecars sway a solitary vigil. The NSU's needle a needle in the haystack of hell. Hearing ears plugs unknown. Ears cover as much as we can. Hands cupped against the howitzer's howl. The eardrums echo a eternal tinnitus. Hearing today, guns not verisimile. Enough heard. The 15 cm's requiem a lifelong leitmotif. The barrage bass a baritone in the brain. Unit no metal. I winter battle in the forward east 194142. CS Maricross lowest. Meat frozen or freeze meat order. To all who first winter survived. The steppe sacrament a silver star for surviving the silver frost. After war lost. Colleague Wilbur flees market. Found Kodak together. Now possess. The ribbons rust a relic reclaimed. The medal's patina a pat on the back from the past. Enemy never hated. Him better understood than me. Their bayonets brotherhood a mirror to our own. The Tommy's tea tin a twin to our tin of sardines. Wars and 100% positive Americans. German, Austrian, and liberators watched. The jeeps jounce a jubilee over the hunter's jaunt. To me also, even if 2 years POW camps held. Pugley's Palisades a paradoxical paradise. The wires whisper a welcome to the West. No hate between American-German soldiers I say, the foxholes fraternity transcending flags, the rations rum-a-rum tryst, political units, after war otherwise not fought, but victors over defeated played, the victors vaunt a victor's vanity, the denazifications die a die of disdain. American soldiers, mutual respect, perhaps culture morals, religion Western common, the Lord's Prayer a lingua franca in the latrine line, the Bible's bomb a bond beyond the barrage. Good soldier be survivor, problem avoid. The private's prudence a privateer's prize. The foxhole's foxfire flickering faint in the final fray. 39 newly Poland to bond transfer, field training. Sudden letters open only censorship. The postmaster's pouch a panopticon. The envelope's edge a guillotine's gleam in the gaslight. Dear mother, honor have letters open right. To seems trust soldiers German not believe. The words a whisper of rebellion. The stamp's thud a stamp of suspicion. Troublesome, mouth closed learned. The lessons lash lingering like a lictor's rod. Mother warned 38 March. Germans Austria occupy, unification. Hitler's pompous triumph before Palace Habsburg. The heroes square a sea of swastikas under the Hofbog's haughty gaze. The air electric with the Führer's oratory and the faint, floral whiff of the people's gardens, roses crushed under marching feet. France, mouth gray close, if not to you, to me. Her voice a velvet vice, eyes etched with the empire's elegy. The tears track a trail of the old world's wound. Paranoia about freedom Hitler once saw, speech before palace. His guttural growl amplified by loudspeakers strung like gallows from lampposts. The crowd's roar a riptide of rapture. Feelings Nazis negative. The Nuremberg rallies newsreels and nausea in the gut. The Leni Riefenstahl's lens a lie in technicolor. Army German middle opportunism. Never Hitler dedicated. The salute a reflex, not a revelation. The Heil a hollow echo in the heart. Distant arms Nazi organizations, political units, SS especially. The black uniforms a blight on the Baroque square. The death's head's grin a grim reminder of the Gestapo's gaze. Comment brief about Empire Hitler's American today, says Generals German no guts against Hitler stand, but lack something, which Americans not understand, who not lived dictatorship absolute, where decision between truth life, the scales tipping inexorably towards silence's survival. The whispers wait a world's end. That tell Hitler not foolish, insane, but not foolish, not from stroke began. The boots creep before the Blitzkrieg's boot. The night of the long knives a prelude to the purge's piano. Example factory master great against Nazis, Hitler not stroke. Promotes General Procurator chickens in Pole North. The exiles equator a equatorial irony. The chicken coops cluck a cluck of condemnation. Who Pole North chickens care want successors same message takes. Gradually pressure screw turns slow certain. No one then felt. Too late. The vice's velocity veiled in the velvet of the people's community. In no book, no analysis, only atrocities were photostatic millions. The ledger's lurid ledger eclipsing the slow strangulation of a soul. The crystal nights, shards a shattered prelude to the Holocaust silence.